Welcome to Afros and Audio's Black History Month interview series. My name is Talib Jasir, founder and CEO of Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, the first two-day conference for and by Black independent podcast creatives and audio professionals. I'm excited to spotlight 28 outstanding indie podcast creatives who answer the call to be a part of this series. Today, my guest is Dr. Mo Anderson. Welcome, and thank you for being here. How are you?
Thank you, Talib. I am excited, thrilled to be here. As I told you earlier, I knew you by reputation, and I'm fangirling here. I'm really happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So tell us about you. We want to know a bit about is it you, Dr. Mo, Dr. Anderson, Doc?
You know what? My name is Monica. I am a doctor of dental surgery. I'm licensed in 4 states. I've been doing it for decades. We won't get into that. So my name is Monica, but it's spelled like Monica. It's difficult for people, trip people up. So many moons ago, a friend of mine, he was like, Mama, I just can't say it. I'm going to call you Mo. And I was like, that works. Let's do that. And I won't have to keep correcting people. So it was Mo until I went to dental school. And then it was Dr. Mo. I've been called so many things that if you come even close, because it's crazy when I'm at the mall and people are going, yo, no, my head is snapping because I think everybody's calling me, but that's my profession, dentistry. But my passion is words. My tagline is change your words, change your world, because I've written 8 books. My 8th book was published last year. I used to write a column for the Star Telegram here in Dallas, Fort Worth, the area where I live. Is a major daily. I've got the podcast. I've been doing it 10 years, but just in the past 2 years, honestly, got serious about it. And we'll talk about that because there's a difference in looking at something as a hobby and fun, and when you get serious about it and committed to it. And that's where I am now. And I really like meeting people from all over. I like talking to people. I like sharing. I like passing stuff forward. I've been really blessed, and I want to pour it out in whatever way I can and connect with good people. I love creatives. I got right brain and left brain, but I'll take my creatives any day, no shade, over my STEM people. It makes for a little bit more fun for me.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. So that's awesome. And congratulations on your 8th book. That's amazing. I look forward to hearing more about that. Tell us about the podcast.
My podcast is called Perpetual mOetion with Dr. Mo Anderson. And as you heard, I've got irons and a lot of fires. So this is where that comes from. It might not be as friendly as it should be, but it encapsulates the way that I interact with the world. And it began as a solo podcast, and it was just a way for me to reach more readers. I talk about my books a lot. And this was 10 years ago. Everybody wasn't podcasting then. And I would just kind of sit up with my PC and talking to a mic and hope somebody in the world heard it. And then fast forward, better technology, more opportunities, groups like this one. It was hard for me to find people of color who were podcasting. I tend to be an early adopter, but as more and more people started doing it, and I started hearing all these amazing podcasts, and I got the idea, you know what? I love talking to people. That's what I've done historically, is interview people. So I've changed the format now. And now every episode I interview guests from all over the world. Just this morning, I spoke with someone in Australia. I've talked to people in Japan, Germany. So I don't keep it just in-house. I'll go wherever there is someone with a story to tell and with strategies and tips to offer to enhance people's personal growth in communication, in relationships. I like to talk about culture and wellness and lifestyle, but particularly communication, relationships, and personal finance, which are the areas that trip us up, really. That's what keeps us in spiritual anorexia so often, is one of those areas. So that's Perpetual mOetion.
Oh, wow. Okay. As a certified life coach since 2015, I resonate with that. And you were absolutely right.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to your guests, and that's pretty impressive, Australia, Japan, all of these places, what do you look for in a guest?
I look for people who are, one, practicing what they preach. If you've written a book about personal finance, you're living in your parents' garage, that's great. You might be saving up to invest in your business, but ideally, I'd like to see demonstrably that you can do what you said. If you're talking about fitness, I'm expecting you to be fit. I just spoke with a woman this morning. She calls herself the Travelista. That's the one in Australia. She's been to 39 countries. That's phenomenal. And she's a former banker. So she's talking about not only traveling on a budget, but how you can save before, after, and during the travel. So I want people, I tell them, I need value add. If you just want to come on and do a commercial, oh, I got a new book, oh, I got these services, I'm not your girl. But if you can add to people's lives, give them a strategy, a tip, something to go forward that's going to elevate them, change their mindset, change their beliefs, or just like she said today, don't use the hotel safe, that every employee in the hotel has a key to the safe. I didn't know that. I thought just the manager, just let everybody have a key. Right there, I always look for my price of admission, Mom. I was like, oh, really? And I'm on Podmatch, a little tip for those of you out there who are podcasting. And I was having difficulty not finding guests so much, but the communication piece, reaching out, they're emailing me, they're calling back, I'm busy. But on Podmatch, the guests have a profile. I can see everything I need to know. They've got the producer's question, the list of questions to ask, where they are, notable podcasts they've been on, topics they like to discuss, and that opened up the world for me. I wasn't just getting US guests anymore, people from all over the world, and they're approaching me. Really cool. So all I got to do is say yay or nay and send them my scheduling link. That would be my tip for anybody who finds they're short of time and having difficulty connecting with people to schedule them.
That's awesome. Shout out to Podmatch for making it easy for folks to find guests. We definitely have a partnership with them. Shout out to them. I'm very happy that their service is working. That's important. Yeah.
Very well. Alex and Alicia, they're a cool couple.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned some of your requirements to being on the podcast. And so that comes with some clarity in the vision. And I'm wondering where you got that from. Is it from the years prior to getting to this point? Or is it something that when you decided that, listen, I want to get serious about it? I'm a true believer that intention accelerates the process. You get intentional about it, what your outcome is becomes more closer in line with your vision. So how did you come about understanding what it was that you really wanted to put out there?
I gotta say, it was a bit selfish. I want to put out there what I want to hear. And I'm not one for, they're great podcasts where people are just sitting and shooting the breeze and talking about current events or what Cardi B or whoever did on TikTok. But I'm not particularly interested in that. I can watch TikTok for myself and laugh. I don't have to hear somebody talk about it. And again, no shade. This is just about me and where I am in my journey right now. I want to learn. I want to grow personally. And I enjoy listening to shows where I get some education in addition to entertainment. I love to laugh, got a wicked sense of humor, but at the same time, it's like the Baptist church. You got your preachers who hoop, and that's all nice and good. But come Tuesday and Wednesday, I want to remember something you said, because that hoopy feeling is gone and it's hard and the world is crushing in. I want to remember what you said, and I want to be able to apply that to my life. So I've just translated that to how I look for guests. That's important to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you talk about the selfish piece, it's your platform, it's your podcast, and that's the beauty of it. It gets to look like and feel like and be everything that you want it to be.
Yeah.
And I think really a great tip for people who are aspiring or even finding their voice in it. It's important to understand that this is yours to do with it what you will. So thank you for sharing that. When it comes to your guests and the folks that you have been able to communicate with, interact with, and learn from, what would you say, if there's any ones that kind of really stick out for you that you really enjoyed and felt like you just had a real takeaway from that experience?
Well, immediately who comes to mind is Karen Abercrombie. She was on my program last year or year before last. It's all running together, but she is an amazing actress, and you may know her from the mega blockbuster, the Christian movie, The War Room. She starred in it. She was Miss Clara. She was a praying woman. And if you haven't seen it, it is well worth your time, regardless of your faith. It's a very well done movie with an inspiring message. But because she's an actress and she's also very firmly seated, rooted in her beliefs, she just came across with so much wisdom and so much passion and the power. It was just transformational. And I submitted a clip from that video to the W3 Awards and won an award for digital excellence. And that's a global award, but our conversation was good. It's nice when there's back and forth, even though I seem to be monopolizing this particular. I'm trying to answer your question, but guess who are energetic, who bring a lot of energy and who are passionate really about what they're talking about. You don't have to be loud or overbearing, but there's something about people who believe deeply in what they're saying, and it's not just a pitch, not just to sell something. And Karen Abercrombie really stands out. I've had Candy Santana on, who's an actress and a really interesting woman, and she also has a digital marketing company. So I like people who are versatile and diverse like you are. So that always helps people, because I like to talk about life balance and self-care, and those things come into play. But you see somebody who you can turn on television and see at any time, or pick up a book or wherever. And just, I like to see the transparency and the authenticity of people who are really doing some amazing things.
Wow, I love that. And I did see the War Room, and you're right, it is great no matter what your faith is or belief. And I love that. I saw that in the submission form. I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. So what ways, and that ties into it, like in what ways would you say podcasting has changed your life?
You know what? It is just an ongoing masterclass for me because of the nature of my program and the types of guests that I interact with. I had a guy on, Josh Rhodes, talking about cryptocurrency. I'd kind of avoided ETFs and cryptocurrency and all of that. I just didn't understand it. I couldn't. YouTube University wasn't getting it for me. And he came on as Southern dude out of Alabama, and he just broke it down, and I got so much great feedback from people. It's one of my most downloaded episodes, and that's not typically, I get into personal finance a bit, but that's not typically something I would get into, ETFs and cryptocurrency and index funds and all of that. But he was like, Degrassi, is that his name? The neuroscientist who just makes, outer space talk seem like it's so relatable and easy, or Malcolm Gladwell, or some of those people who can take complex topics and break it into bite-sized, digestible pieces. So that's really something that I love a lot.
Wow, okay, thank you. And when it comes to the vision for your podcast, you said you've been really taking it seriously in the last 2 years. Where do you see it going? And do you have a vision of expansion for it at this point?
I do have a vision of expansion. And I probably didn't answer your last question completely, but I like this video format as well, to the microphones and being able to use Audacity. There's so many things that I've learned, and Altitude. I've got a lot of different software that I use to help with the sound and quality and so forth. But I guess a couple of years ago, I just decided, you know what, I like this enough, but I'm spending a lot of time on it and honestly not monetizing it the way that I could. So I joined Black Podcasters Association. I joined some online groups, just like you do if you want to learn anything else. And I was like, I'm putting out good content. I've got great audio quality. I've got great guests. There's value in that, value for others and value for myself. And that's when I got really serious about it, because the one thing I kept hearing over and over from podcasters that I like and people who teach the podcasting industry was that, advertisers, sponsors are flocking to this particular medium right now. And if you are consistent and offering value, that they'll be interested. And that's the truth. I've got my first ads now with it, pre-roll, mid-roll. I don't know all the terms, but yay for me.
That's awesome. So talk a bit about that. You were going into a space where it's almost, with intentionality, of course, inevitable that expansion will occur. I'm a big believer in that. As you manifest your vision, the vision will begin to manifest it all.
Yes.
There's no finish line. It just continues to grow. You don't even know the people that are going to come into your circle and your world. and just expand the opportunities. You just got to get off the sidelines for it. And you've been off the sidelines for quite a long time. So kudos to you. But as you move forward, and for instance, the ads and stuff like that, I'm sure there are people that are still just, whether they're double dutching and not quite ready to jump in, or they just don't know what to do. And for a lot of people in human nature is, when I don't know what to do, I'm going to do nothing at all. So talk a little bit about that intentionality around, okay, this is the time. I've got the guest, I've got the value add. It's important that more people get to hear it besides me. It gets to go. And so when you decided, okay, these are the steps I'm going to take, what were some of those steps? Very briefly, not too in depth, but just letting people know it's possible for them.
It started with community, joining groups, connecting with Afros and Audio, the Black Podcasters Association. I'm in the ASA Collective, which is a global group of female podcasters, because while there is a lot of information out there that you can just find on your own, I personally do better when I can talk and engage with people and ask questions. And more than that, I don't know what I don't know. And so that's what I'm finding in these groups, going to the conferences and getting information, is that it's just opening my mind to opportunities and avenues, and that I don't have to go just one way. You can do auto ads, or you can go out and pitch and find your own sponsors. There's so many different things that I wasn't even aware of, honestly, that I was just leaving stuff on the table. And like I said, I've got a heart for giving, for pouring out, for pouring into others, but at the same time, there's value to that. And there's a lot of expense just from our time, just right here. There's a lot of expense of our time and equipment that we're spending to do this. And that's what I was looking at. And then as I started to hear from all these other podcasters about what they were doing and how they were impacting others, the more people we reach with what we believe is a good message, the more of an impact we can make. And that's ultimately why I do it. There's a lot of things I can do to make money that don't take nearly as much time as podcasting does. People have no idea how time consuming it is to hear that 30 or 40 minutes of audio, but it is time consuming, but it's so rewarding. And that's my one word: community, is connecting with other people who are doing what I do and doing it better, so I can learn from them.
Absolutely. Truly, I'm a bit of a philosopher. You haven't figured that out yet. But I always say to people, listen, it's not cool to say you don't have support if you don't reach for it. Support is around us, and it's not a bad word, and it's not a bad thing to reach for it when needed. Learning what we don't know, expanding what we're capable of. It's so important. So yeah, I'm grateful that you are a member of BPA, because I know that you are a value add in and of itself, but also, again, we mentioned this, I think, prior to starting record, but being able to be poured into as well is so important.
Yes, I agree completely.
Yeah, we're going to start to close this up, but I wanted to know, and you've dropped a lot of gems here for folks who are watching and wanting to either begin their podcast or starting to feel fatigued or frustrated with it, whether it's wanting a thing and not being able to figure out how to do any particular thing. What is it that you would like to share with those folks, and or just some of your learnings from being in this space that you'd like to share?
One is, even though you feel like no one is, at times we all feel like nobody's listening. Why am I doing this? It's easy to get discouraged when you're just sitting up at your house with a microphone, right? I was like, am I crazy? What am I doing? Anyway, but impact comes down to not just reaching a lot of people, but reaching the right people. And if that one person that you impact, that you shed some light on, that you help them to overcome a problem that's happening. There's so many ways that you're helping generations of people, that you're helping entire communities when you reach the right person. So that's my mindset, is I want to reach the right people with this information. I want to present it in the right way so that it's digestible and practical and they can use it. If you get your mind off of numbers and likes and downloads and really focus on perfecting your craft and connecting with the right people, I just believe good things will come to you. Good things have come to me. My TED Talk just came out, and it was one of my podcast guests who was like, wow, you're a really good speaker. I see you've been speaking a long time. Have you done a TED Talk? And I was like, no, I've thought about it. And she encouraged me, set me up with a coach. I believe in coaching. And 2 weeks ago, it was just uploaded. And even just that little bit, in 2 weeks, I've gotten people approaching me on LinkedIn wanting to be guests on my podcast. So don't be ashamed to let people know what you're doing and to put it out there. If you don't like talking about yourself and your product, you need to get out of podcasting, sales, service altogether, because it is necessary. And just concentrate more on making a difference than making a dollar, and good things will happen.
Wow, that's great. I so appreciate you responding with that. It's important words for people to know. We are actively laying our living record of our experiences right now and our perspectives. And that is so important. And as you said, long after done worrying about monetization and downloads, we've laid it down. We've said whatever it needed to be said from our own perspective. And that to me is so important as a community.
Very much. And I don't want to get off without saying how much I appreciate what you're doing, your leadership, how you've stepped up, and how you're helping people. I was already asking for help before we started rolling, and you always come through. You have such a wonderful reputation, and it's because you've got a lot of character, and you obviously care a lot about your fellow man and your fellow podcasters. And I just kudos to you. Really mad respect for you.
Thank you so much. I've already told you how much it means to me that you say that, because it can be challenging sometimes, much like podcasting. My great grandmother, who raised me from 0 to 7, she said, I'll do anything for somebody that's grateful for it.
Gratitude is
Right.
sorely lacking. You
Right.
wise words from great grandma. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been how I am. I don't need the hands clapping, but to know that it's impactful and that people are getting out what I'm putting out is something I'm very grateful for. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to share with anybody? If there's a podcast that you also listen to or anything else that you want to share, I definitely do not want you to go away from here without telling us the TED Talk title, where we can find it, as well as the book, and we can find you from there, but also your social media, wherever else we can find you.
Sweet. I'm going to tick through all of those. I like Therapy for Black Girls. It's a counselor out of Atlanta. She is in that self-care, wellness, mental health space. We need a lot more people talking about that, a lot more people embracing that, because we talk about other people worrying us to death. We're worrying ourselves to death. And that has got to stop. That's a really awesome, very popular podcast, but I enjoy it tremendously. I have 8 books. My most recent 2 books are Success is a Side Effect, Leadership, Relationships, and Selective Amnesia, which is personal and professional development. And then I've written a book on self-publishing, Launch Your Self-Publishing Journey, that walks you through step by step exactly how to do it, how not to get taken for a ride. People just prey on new authors who just want to see their name in print and their ideas published. And I've had 2 people so far share with me that they have published their books and that they use that book as a guide. So that pouring out, that is a fantastic feeling for me. And I'm happy that they told me. I wouldn't have known, but it helps when I go to do the next thing, that yes, people are benefiting from this. And lastly, my TED Talk, it just came to me. You've heard the things I typically talk about, but this TED Talk is about the intersectionality of my race and my profession. And the title of it is What Dentistry Teaches Us About How to Curb Racism. And I draw parallels between those things that seem to have nothing in common, but actually do. And it was exciting to pull it together, worked with some amazing people to refine it. And being on that TEDx stage, that was the biggest speech of my life. It was nerve-wracking, but I'm so glad I got to do that.
Wow, that's awesome. And congratulations on all of those things. I'm a self-publisher myself, and just had a call with someone that now I get to just share your book instead of saying, okay, bro, this is what you do.
That's why I wrote it. Hello,
Right.
everybody that wanted to write a book. I'm like, I'm saying the same thing over and over. Yes, please tell them. And it's only $3.99. You can do print or download. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I'm so happy that there's a resource and and I don't have to run my mouth anymore. That's great. Congratulations on all of that. I really can't wait to watch the TEDx, to read the book. I've definitely resonated with you here in so many ways. And just thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Same. Thank you for doing it. This is a great thing for Black History Month, for every month.
Absolutely. So I'm going to close us out and just stay right there for me, okay? I want to give a big thanks to our Afros in Audio and Black podcast community for supporting our commitment for community and collaboration. If you'd like to join the Black Podcasters Association, the link will be in the description below. And if you want to join us at the 5th annual Afros in Audio Podcast Festival, visit bit.ly AFAU FAQ, also in the description. Follow us on all social media channels at Afros in Audio. Thanks again, Dr. Mo Anderson, for being a part of Afros in Audio's first ever Black History Month interview series.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And all of your information and links will be in the description below. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Much appreciated.